early 2000s, and as you can imagine, that industry, you meet a lot of powerful, rich, famous people. My mom ended up having an affair with the mayor of the city, who was married at the time. So, yeah. Things got messy, and
Everything she said is the gospel truth.
Again, Detroit police, they emphasize that the investigation is still open. They're still looking into things, and anyone with tips is asked to reach out to their homicide unit.
All right, what's up with the YouTube fam? I'm back again with another video. So listen, man, before I move forward into this video, I want to start this off the right way by saying RIP to this young lady's mother. Her mother's name was Tamara Greene, and her name is Ashley Jackson. Now, like I was just trying to say before I stopped, I want to say RIP to her, and I want to send my condolences out to her entire family and everybody out there that had a genuine love for her, especially her daughter, because I know this is a very sad, traumatic thing to go through your whole entire life without a parent, you know, somebody who you really needed in your life. And from some of the clips that I have seen, you can tell that, you know, this really broke her. Like, she was just saying certain things to let you know she had a hard life after her mother passed, and that really just messed with me. But basically, long story short, this situation took place back in 2003, if I'm not mistaken, and it just got rekindled right now because this young lady was brave enough to keep on speaking about what happened to her mother. Now, she got out there. She wants this to be spreaded out. She wants some help in her situation. And from what she did, man, I'm telling you, she done down there did everything she needed to do. But the public's help will always help, you feel me? But, yeah, she spoke about what took place, and it just set wildfire to the internet. Now the case is being talked about in various news stations and stuff like that, and they're saying that the case is still open. So basically, a timeline of what allegedly happened was her mother, she just told the truth that her mother was a stripper and she was set to go to a private party. Long story short, her mother ended up losing her life. Now, with some people saying, well, there was a witness that stated that the mother danced on the former mayor. I think his name is Kwame Kilpatrick, if I'm not mistaken. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry, but other than that, we're going to get back into the story. So, you know, they said that the mother allegedly danced on him, and they ended up getting into an altercation, and after that, the mother ended up losing her life. Now, there's a lot of speculations on what took place because it was some injustice happening in the courtrooms and stuff like that, and, you know, and everything is allegedly, you know, everything that I'm saying is allegedly, just all my thoughts and opinions and what I have seen on the internet. I don't know any of this to be true, but yeah. But yeah, you know, there was some witness tampering. It was all type of different injustices that was allegedly taking place. So he was able to get away with that situation unscathed. He has went to jail before, but as of now, he didn't get charged for what took place with her mother. Now, they were saying that this was a drug-fueled party that they was at, and with them saying that, it leaves so much room for so many other things to possibly take place. Now, they were saying that she had, you know, been involved with a drug dealer and stuff like that, and the person who took her life was somebody who was trying to get the money back from her dude. We don't know that to be true, and I'm believing what the daughter says, you know. I'm just rocking with that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just feel like when there's somebody that's in a higher place or something like that, they can make things happen. But overall, man, that's just what I'm gonna say so far. I done gave y'all a good enough synopsis for right now, but I will be talking to y'all during this video at some point in time. But majority of everything that you want to know is gonna be in this video, unless she comes back with more updates, with more information that we don't know nothing about. But let's get into it though, and make sure you hit that like button for me too if you're rocking with the channel. Let's go.
I'm officially the age my mother was when she was murdered, and like, I'm just now realizing how young she actually was. So this is very weird. Like, I was 7 when I lost my mother, so she seemed like more mature and more adult than me, and probably was. But next year means I'll be older than her.
Damn.
So that's awesome. My mom was a very popular stripper in the early 2000s, and as you can imagine, that industry, you meet a lot of powerful, rich, famous people. My mom ended up having an affair with the mayor of the city, who was married at the time. So yeah, things got messy, and the mayor of Detroit's wife actually assaulted my mother. Instead of paying my mother hush money, the mayor decided to pay off cops in the city to murder my mother. There's a lot of key points to my mother's story, but to make things a little shorter, She was murdered in a drive-by with police-issued guns. I worked in the industry myself, so I've met people who knew my mother, seen her around the mayor, and they do not want any parts of my mother's case. So to this day, it's an unsolved murder. There has been many podcasts, news channels reporting on my mother's story, a book written, a play produced, but after so many years of trying to fight for justice, I have been a standing lone wolf and have grown very tired. So the former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, actually ended up going to prison for various other things after reports of my mother's death. Some people think he's great, some people think he's a terrible, terrible man. But thanks to Donald Trump being his longtime friend in that industry, he pardoned him a few years ago. So now the man responsible for my mother's murder is just living his happily ever after life. I see a lot of comments like this, and it doesn't bother me like you think. That man was wrecking his own home, okay? But I think you're missing the entire point of what I'm trying to do. I grew up in a city where I had to see my mother on the news almost every week until I became an adult, while simultaneously seeing thousands of people support the man who allegedly had something to do with my mother's death. I went from a good life to a struggle life instantly. All three of my mother's children got separated after the funeral. All three of us have different fathers, and that's the life for a lot of people. So unfortunately, my little sister was barely 1 at the time, and she got adopted by another family member, and I don't know who her father is. My sister's gonna have to get a DNA test on her own. She's an adult now, and I can't make anyone do anything. So who's the real homewrecker? At the end of the day, I just want justice for me and my siblings and my mother and her grandchildren that she's never gonna ever meet. So it would be nice to have some financial gain from my mother's story, just like everyone else who's reported on my mother's story. None of these news stations actually care. I just got an email yesterday from one trying to get an interview, and I'm not responding. The last interview I did, they've given me false hope on all these promises and things that they were going to do. And they edited like almost the entire interview. So everything that I wanted to tell the world didn't even get out because they just used me.
Never proven Manoogian Mansion party, former mayor.
Okay, now she said a lot of stuff right there, and I think some of the things need to be unpacked for sure. She said that the mother and him was having an affair, right? So that's basically saying that the situation where she was stripping on the guy and, you know, she got mad or jealous, whatever the case may be. I mean, it could be some truth to that, which we don't know, but I mean, if she's basically stating that they were messing around and stuff like that, there was more fuel to get somebody out of the way, you feel me? And the hush money part, I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but it's like, you know, if somebody's trying to get hush money, like threatening someone, people do things like that, but I'm not trying to say that's what happened. I'm just saying if that was to have happened, stuff like that does happen. And yeah, I feel like that if that's a situation, man, you know, I feel like a lot of people shouldn't be trying to blame the person that's on the outside versus the person that's on the inside. The person on the inside need to be blamed just as much or more because they are the one that's in the relationship and they're the one who should hold more respect and loyalty for their spouse. And I mean, people gonna do what they want to do at the end of the day, but it's also about how you do this shit as well. You know, I don't want to sit here and say that this man did this and man did that. I'm just going off of what I hear, but it does sound pretty believable, and I don't feel like that. You know, situations that aren't really true, I don't feel like they get too much light. You know, when there's some lies involved, I don't feel like too many people get involved, but I feel like when there's some bona fide truth somewhere in the situation, it gets a whole bunch of notoriety. It gets a lot of attention. You know, you see what I'm saying? It causes a lot of hell, basically what I'm trying to say. So right now, if we get back into the story, and in the middle of the story, you can hear certain things. And this is like something that just took place recently, but after that, it's like an initial story. But let's get back into it.
Kwame Kilpatrick was allegedly there.
Do I think Kwame Kilpatrick hired police officers? No, I don't. I know the investigator, the lead investigator who did it, and he still firmly believes that she was in a car with a dope dealer, her friend, who owed like a $50,000 debt. Someone came up and shot at him, missed, and killed her.
The Detroit police say, quote, the investigation into Mrs. Greene's homicide remains open. The Detroit Police Department's homicide unit will continue to investigate any tips and leads made available. Yatuma believes people should listen to what Ashley is saying.
Everything she said is the gospel truth.
Again, Detroit police, they emphasize that the investigation is still open. They're still looking into things, and anyone with tips is asked to reach out to their homicide unit. I'm Lauren Edwards, Fox 2 News.
It is one of the biggest unsolved murder mysteries in Detroit. Who? Tamara Greene.
When the exotic dancer was gunned down in 2003, her daughter was just a child. Now she's all grown up and she wants justice.
7 Action News reporter Andrea Isom with this exclusive interview.
I received an unexpected email from 21-year-old Ashley Jackson, and it took my breath away. Ashley wanted to talk with me about her mother. After all, she was just a little girl when she...
To the person or the people who took your mother's life, if you could say something to them, what would you say?
I'd say that I hate them. I do. I hate that my life's the way it is because of something they decided to do.
Who is your mom?
Tamara Greene.
How old were you when you lost your mom?
I was 7.
What would you say to your mom?
I'd just say that I love her and that I miss her.
In the early morning hours of April 30th, 2003, it was pitch black, but all was quiet after 3 a.m. on Detroit's west side. Tamara and her boyfriend, Eric Mitchell, were chatting in her car when all hell broke loose. A mystery man with a pistol sprayed a barrage of bullets from a .40 caliber gun. Tamara and her boyfriend, Eric, were both hit more than once in that drive-by, but Tamara didn't make it.
I think they were trying to take her out.
It's a hit.
It's a hit.
Execution.
Absolutely.
Investigator Ira Todd is one of DPD's top cops. He's worked in the department for almost 36 years. On the homicide task force, he and his partner, Detective McIntyre, have been assigned the Tamara Greene case. For them, it's personal.
It could have been my daughter.
Make you angry.
Make you real angry. Yeah.
The rumors ran wild. Tamara, whose stage name was Strawberry, worked as an exotic dancer. Word is, she stripped for some heavy hitters in her past, like former Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick and his buddies. Was there a risque soiree inside the Manoogian Mansion? Did something sinister happen there?
There's something that went down.
I believe there was some sort of get-together, some gathering that everybody wanted to keep quiet.
What was so secretive, what needed to be, not exposed.
They sensationalized the whole thing instead of just, working it like a regular case.
See, when they say certain things like that, it's basically like erase. People saying it didn't happen and all type of different things like that. One of the main reasons why people are going to say certain things like that is because it's high-powered people that was allegedly there. And with them high-powered people being there, they're not going to actually be, willing to be out there in the public's eye and willing to be spoken on in a certain light. Like I always say, people always want you to have their perception of them in your eyes the way that they want it to be. So if that's the case, they don't want you to see them like that. So they're saying there's certain records, certain things were erased. There's all type of different stuff that's going on with this situation. A lot of corruption. But let's get back into it though.
Media, law enforcement, everybody?
Everybody. There was speculation that there were some documents that had been hidden.
See?
There was some evidence that had been moved. There was some interference by, individuals on the department.
Do police believe Kwame Kilpatrick played any part at all in what happened to Tamara Greene?
No, there's no evidence to prove that. And I believe firmly in evidence. There's no evidence to prove that. Now, did he have some involvement or something like that? Maybe he did.
I feel like if he didn't do it, he knows who did.
The headlines of Tamara's homicide were often upstaged by the prominence and position of Kilpatrick in this city.
It just snowballed into this big soap opera.
I would never disrespect my God, my wife, or my children with this nonsense like a rumor at a party.
My mom's case kind of got shuffled under the rug.
Everybody was focused on, was there a party? You know, was there a bunch of strippers at the party? Did the mayor's wife beat up, Strawberry at the party?
I just want closure.
Imagine your mother's being played out for the world to see every single day of your life, and her killer has yet to be caught.
How has this changed you?
It's changed me a lot. I have a lot of, mental damage from just this one incident. And people don't understand how that affects my entire life.
To the killer or killers, investigator, your message to them?
Coming to get you. I have a suspect. Yeah. I've always had a suspect.
So Ashley is breaking her silence to me so that you can see and feel her pain and join the quest for truth and justice for her mother.
I feel like my mom would do the same for me. She'd do anything she could to find out who did that. And if it was my daughter, I would do the same thing for her.
Chief James Craig has given the Homicide Task Force the green light to go get justice for Miss Greene. So DPD, MSP, the DEA, and the FBI are all working together on this one. The goal, to put her killer behind bars, once and for all. I'm Andrea Isa, 7 Action News.
Now, with him being pardoned, I didn't do no extensive research on how exactly he was pardoned and what they pardoned him from. But he was in jail for certain things, like I said, that's associated with corruption and shit. So, he might be excluded from being retried in this, if I'm not mistaken, if that's how a pardon works, But overall, I feel like something will still happen in this situation. I feel like that this situation right here is not going to be brushed over. People are going to keep on talking about it. And like I said before, man, when it's a situation like this happening and it's getting all this type of notoriety, I feel like it's something that's very damning that took place. And I feel like that this situation keep on being reopened and reviewed for a certain reason. Because I feel like that when you just get rid of good people and shit like that, or when it's a whole bunch of extra corruption going on, there's going to be some justice somewhere for somebody. You feel me? But overall, man, I want to know your thoughts and opinions on this situation. I know some of y'all going to say that the mother was wrong for messing with a married man, and I know how y'all feel about that. I'm not here to argue with nobody about none of that. I just don't feel like nobody should be taking nobody's life for that, especially knowing that the person that you're with is the person that's, involved with this shit. You feel me? And most of the time, man, they encouraging it, So it is what it is. I want to know your thoughts and opinions on it. Let me know how y'all feel, and I will holler at y'all later on another video. All right.